be here. Thank Frank for letting me come back for the second time. Eve said to Adam, "Do you love me?" He said, "Who else?" A priest and a nun were golfing, and they were on the first hole, and the priest takes a swing and misses and says, "Oh my God, I missed." So he takes another swing and misses and says, "Oh my God, I missed." The nun says, "Father, if you say that one more time, God's going to strike you with a lightning bolt." So he takes another swing and he misses and says, "Oh my God, I missed." So down comes the lightning bolt, down goes the nun. And there's a big booming voice in the sky, "Oh my God, I missed." This cute 25-year-old red-headed girl goes into the doctor's office and she said, "Doctor, you have to help me. I'm sore all over my body. It's driving me crazy. I'm sore here, I'm sore here, I'm sore here, I'm sore here. Please check me out." So he checks her out. And he says, "You're a redhead now, but were you once originally a blonde?" And she said, "Well, yes, I was." He says, "I thought so. You have a broken finger." You get that one? Let me get this. Well, this is actually a true story. When I had a dog, I'd go down as far as right around here, and I met a fellow who had another dog, same age, and he lived, I think he was on Canterbury. His name was John. He said he went to this church, but I never saw him in church. So this went on for about 10 years. I'd meet him maybe once a month, because I usually didn't go this far. And about a few months ago, I was walking my dog, and he pulled over in his car, and he said, my Bruno, 14-year-old German Shepherd, died. So I said, "Well, I'm awful sorry." He said, "Yes, well, I went up to the rectory," John said, "and I rang the bell, and Lorraine answered, and I told her, I'd like to know if the father can do a little service for a friend of mine." And she said, "Well, he happens to be in the kitchen, so why don't you come on in?" So he went in, and I guess the father knew him from walking by with the dog for many years. And he said, "Father, do you think you can do a little service for my dear departed dog, Bruno?" And Father Bill said, "No, I don't think I can help you there, but maybe the Baptist up on Crescent Street might be able to help you." And John said, "You think for $2,500 they could do a little nice, cute little service for him?" And Father Bill said, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You got a $2,500? You didn't say your dog was Catholic." This fellow was on a road, a road. There was nobody else on the road, and a poor little rabbit runs out in front of him. He tries to miss him, but the rabbit runs right in front of him. He hits it, kills it. He gets out, looks at the poor rabbit, and a woman's going by in a car, and she sees him bending over. She figured something happened bad, so she gets out and goes over. "Well, what happened? What happened?" "Well, the rabbit ran right in front of me, and I killed him." So she said, "Let me go to the car." I hope I can keep a straight face. This it breaks me up. So she brings over a spray can, sprays the rabbit. The rabbit gets up, hops away about 10 feet, waves, hops another 10 feet and waves, all the way out of sight. He said, "That's amazing. Can I see that can?" So he took the can, and it says hairspray. Brings dead hair back to life. Gives permanent wave. This couple in their mid-50s, the husband just retired a couple of months ago from the local police department, And they started going everywhere. They went to bowling and dancing and nightclubs and cruise ships. And the husband suddenly drops dead. So the wife is so despondent that she wants to commit suicide. So she doesn't want to shoot herself in the head, and she knows where she figures it's too messy. And she wants to shoot herself in the heart, and she knows where the husband's gun on the bedroom closet shelf is. So she wants to make sure she gets the correct position of the heart, so she calls the doctor. And he's a little quizzical about it, but he shows her. He said, you take your right hand, open palm, put the first knuckle of your thumb on your left nipple, and where the second knuckle is on your pinky finger, that's where your heart is. So to make a long story short, she's in the local hospital suffering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the left hip. I meant to use the other microphone. Is this one all wet or what? This couple in their 70s were heading from the Melrose area, going to Yacht Beach, Maine for a week vacation, and the husband said, let's stop in this bar room and have a beer. So the wife said, sure. So they're at the bar, and the husband's looking down the end of the bar, and he says to the wife, you see that couple down there? That'll be us in 10 years. And the wife says, you do know that's a mirror. This girl, a woman about 55, had just stepped out of the shower. She's looking in the full-length mirror, and the husband's across the hall and watching TV. And she's saying, honey, he says, yes, my hips are getting big, my tummy's getting big, my breasts are sagging, my face is getting wrinkled, and my hair is getting white. Can you please say something positive? Oh, sure, your eyesight's 100%. Steve did one of my jokes, so I have to forget that one. These five Catholic ladies went to a 3-day Catholic convention in New York City. And on the first day at the hotel, having breakfast at the restaurant, they were talking about their children. So the first lady said, well, my son's a deacon. When he enters a room, they say deacon. And the second woman said, well, my son's a priest. When he enters a room, they say father. The third lady said, well, my son's a bishop. And when he enters a room, they say, your grace. The fourth lady figured she had them all outdone. She said, well, my son's a cardinal. When he enters a room, they call him your eminence. So the fifth lady was just sipping a coffee, saying nothing. And one of the women said, well, my son, he's 6 feet tall, 195 pounds, he's 26 years old, handsome, buff body, and he's a Chippendale dancer stripper. And when he enters a room, the ladies say, oh my God. This 95-year-old woman was driving along 128 in the breakdown lane, knitting. So the trooper couldn't believe it. He pulls up next to her, and he says, pull over, pull over. She says, no, a scarf. Little Johnny was, keep it down over there.
Very good.
Little Johnny was digging a hole in his backyard, and the elderly neighbor looks over the fence. So, Johnny, what are you doing? I'm burying my canary. He died last night. He said, the old man said, well, why are you digging such a big hole? It's 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet deep. He said, because he's in your damn cat. This short, slim, 85-year-old man was walking downtown Boston, going by a storefront, and he looks in. It looked like an old-fashioned ice cream parlor. So he says, I think I'll go in and have an ice cream. So there was two middle-aged women behind the counter. One of them wasn't busy, saw him coming in, and she says, can I help you, sir? He says, yes, I'll have a vanilla sundae, whipped cream, and a strawberry. And she says, okay, you got it. So he's getting up to the chair, and he's going like this. It's going like that. So he finally gets up, and she has the ice cream done to his specifications. She just says, crushed nuts? He says, no, arthritis. That's my son, by the way. A good group over there. That must be my neighbor. This 25-year-old stockbroker in Boston, Friday afternoon, 5 o'clock, goes down the elevator, goes around the corner, goes into a bar. It's a horseshoe-shaped bar. And he sees this good-looking lady right across from him. So they were making eye contact, and then he finally sent her over a drink. And then he went over and talked to her, and they were talking for 45 minutes. So she said, you would like to go back to my apartment? It's right around the corner. So they went back to her apartment, and they were cuddling. And on the coffee table was a picture of a handsome man with like a David Niven mustache. And he said, well, who is that? Your boyfriend? No, it's not my boyfriend. So they cuddled a little more. And he said, is it your brother? She said, no, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. So they cuddled and cuddled. And he said, is it maybe a 10-year-old picture of your father? She said, no. He said, well, who is it? She said, that was me before the operation. These two priests died within seconds of each other. One of them was 40 years old, and he unfortunately died of a heart attack. The other one was 75 years old, and he died of cancer. And St. Peter said, fathers, we've been expecting you. We have a major problem. Our computer geeks up here say our computers are down, and they'll be down for 1 week. You cannot go down as yourself. You can go down as somebody else or something else. So the old priest says, well, I'd like to go back as a bald eagle and fly over Waltham, where I grew up. So be it, said, and the younger priest said, well, does that mean because the computers are down, you can't check up on us? And St. Peter said, yes, that's true. He said, well, I'd like to go down as a stud. So a week later, the computers are fixed, and God said God said to St. Peter, those two priests be able to find them and bring them back up? He said, yeah, the older one, no problem. He's a bald eagle flying over Waltham, Massachusetts. But the younger one, he's a snow tire stud on an SUV somewhere in Alaska. These two men were golfing, about 55 years old, and it was a small golf course, and there was, in the 8th hole, there was a small road it went to the local cemetery. And about 5 or 6 cars were going by in the funeral, and one of the men took off his hat and put it over his heart. And when they passed, he put his hat back on, and the other fellow said, that was very nice of you to do that. And he said, well, it's the least I could do. I was married to her for 35 years. This friend of mine, he's a little on the chunky side, and he went on this grapefruit diet. He had to eat about a dozen grapefruits a day for about a week. And every time he peed, he squirted in his eye. I got a few more. A group of men were in the maternity ward at the hospital waiting for their children to be born. And the nurse comes out and says, is Mr. Abernathy here? And he says, yes. You have a girl and a boy. He said, oh, that's great. I work for the Minnesota Twins. So a little while later, the nurse comes out, and Mr. Berkeley here. He said, yes, right here. You have 2 girls and a boy. Oh, that's great. I work for 3M. So a little while later, a nurse comes out and says, is Mr. Crosby here? He says, you have 2 girls and 2 boys. Oh, great. I work for the Four Seasons. So a little while later, a nurse comes out and said, is Mr. McCarthy here? And he said, well, no, he just jumped through the window. He works for 7-Up. I got 2 more. Bill. Whatever. Bill and Fred, they try to meet once a week in the good weather in the back of City Hall at where the bandstand is. And Bill is 80 and Fred is 90. And, Bill was approaching Fred and he said, Fred, I just had your birthday. Happy birthday. How you feeling? He said, oh, I'm all right. I got arthritis, bursitis, tendonitis, diphtheritis. I got it. How are you doing, Bill? Bill said, I'm like a newborn baby. Fred said, what? Bill said, I'm like a newborn baby, bald, no teeth, and I think I just wet my pants. One more. Most of you people might remember Peekaboo Street. She was an Olympic skier about 25 years ago, I guess. Anyway, she became a nurse, and you might have heard this story too. It's questionable whether it's true or not. So she works in the local hospital in the intensive care unit. And after 2 days of working, she was banned from answering the telephone because she'd say, peekaboo, I see you. This is for Frank Joyce, if he's here. I don't know if he's here. But these three neighbors died, and a neighbor went to the wake. I'm sorry, the fella died, and 3 neighbors went to the wake. And one of them said, what would you like people to say at your wake? Well, that I was a good teacher, and most of my students went on to college. And they asked the other fellow and said, what would you like them to say at your wake? Well, I was a good surgeon and I saved many lives. And he asked the third fellow, what would you like them to say at your wake? Look, he moved.
Tallest guy in Waltham. All right, I got a bunch of jokes I could tell too. Do you guys want to go home?